Hello everyone! By the time you see this video, the cart is open and I am taking new students into the Thriving Through Meltdowns course program. When I started posting book clips and information and insights related to my pediatric occupational therapy lens and my experiences and my own personal journey through healing, I really didn't anticipate all of the community elements and benefits and gifts that this community would provide. Questions came in again and again. The teacher in Missouri that was wanting to support the problem child a little bit differently. The caregivers in Dubai that had just had a baby and whose older sibling was having a really hard time managing that. People healing their own wounds and their own pain and their own challenges and own unresolved emotions along the way while caring for kids in some way. I started to see clients one-to-one through Thriving Littles, people from all over the world, and it was the most energizing, meaningful thing to work with families in this really comprehensive way and get to the root of what is happening versus scratch the surface and really not make much of an impact. Although I wasn't advertising and I wasn't sharing that I had open positions, clients were coming and my wait list was growing, and I quickly realized that as much as I would love to work with all of the tens of thousands of you and get to know your families, get to know your stories, get to know your kids, what brings you joy, what challenges you have, I quickly learned that I cannot support people one-to-one long-term in a sustainable way, and I needed another solution. All of the questions that you've asked over the last couple of years and all of the needs that I hear from in-person clients and people that I really admire and respect and am so fortunate to get to work with, and I realized how rare this mix of my child development lens from a pediatric OT standpoint and tons of experiences with kids over the last 2 decades and beyond, and the mix of attachment, psychology, and how family interaction and relationships come into play, as well as human consciousness and all of us who are going through this journey to be more intentional, more aware, and really more of who we are. I started to realize more and more how it was seriously helping people to put all of these pieces together in a unique way that could give practical tips and practical insights, as well as understand the background and the methodology behind it all that makes it so powerful for you to take it and run with it. With the world shifting again and again this year, I've started to realize that emotional intelligence and relationships and emotional literacy matters more than ever. It is relationships that give us meaning in our lives. It is such a gift to take on new students and members who are ready to soak all of this up and have community around it. The truth is, many people do not get results that they would like from programs or how-to information. And I believe it is because of the fact that we tend to repeat what we are used to, what we are wired to do, even if it's dysfunctional, even if it doesn't feel so good. We are wired to repeat those patterns at all costs and deny or protect or minimize that anything needs to shift because it feels safe to our bodies and our minds, our nervous system, to just keep going on that path. That said, I have been there and I have changed my life and my relationships by doing this work. And I believe that if you are committed and if you can commit to the daily practice and the ups and the downs, sky's the limit as well. Now that that's out of the way, here's what I can guarantee. I have put all of the methods and strategies and techniques and information that have changed my life and so many clients that I've worked with through this process. I want you to be able to confidently support kids through emotions and yourself through emotions by going through this process. It combines background science, child development, psychology, the latest research about how our physiology really shapes our regulation and our behavior as a result. I believe if any program can help you, this is the one. I believe that when people have the tools and are able to make meaning or understand what is going on, we are more calm, we are more organized, because that meaning or that understanding or the possibility of knowing that we have tools to use in the moment allows us to get back to our calm and allows us to be available for our kids and ourselves in these tough moments. So if I can give you this information to help you get back to your instincts in the moment and help you be more of who you are authentically, showing up and being real, that is the coolest gift that I could imagine. I want you to know exactly what you'll be getting when you purchase this course. So first, we will jump in with a bonus module where I answer all of the most frequently asked questions. These hot topics, if you will, like kids hitting or siblings arguing and fighting, or parents or caregivers that want to do things in a totally different way. So I'll talk through a quick rapid fire question and answer so that if you're having a meltdown or if you're having this challenge today, I can give you some tools right off the bat to get started. I'll also set up how play and attachment is really the core foundation of all of this. And we want to build a foundation that no big bad wolf could ever blow down, because you'll have the clear, compassionate rhythms of connection and attachment and play, and really concrete ways to play depending on what the situations are that you would like to support. You'll discover top judgments that we have toward kids and how these inherent judgments that are rooted in our background and our histories and our expectations through childhood show up and can block our connection with kids and ourselves all day long. Next, we'll go through the investigative tools that you can use to figure out what is happening and figure out what to do in the moment. What direction do we need to go? What step of the Meltdown Method would be helpful in each moment? There's no need to be a full-blown therapist to be highly, highly effective with kids and have some confidence instead of all the shame and guilt that tends to come up with parenting and caring for kids and being around these unpredictable, unfamiliar, often novel situations that are coming up. I'll share exactly what to do in the moment because, again, when you have a framework, when you have tools to support and guide you, I trust that you can follow your instincts and take what you feel is most important from there for your individual child in front of you, not somebody else's child, not this blanket information on the internet, but really looking at this individual human in front of you and being able to edit and adapt to them, because they really can't adapt to us. It is our role to adapt and investigate. And yes, it can be a huge, huge challenge and undertaking, but I know how capable each of you are. And I'm so excited to get to support you along this process. Finally, I'll show you 5 methods to repair when relationships rupture, when we mess up, when we yell, when we blame, when we criticize, when we do things that are outside of our values. How do we repair that without talking with the child if they aren't ready to process verbal or words, which is so common. And for these little ones, they just aren't ready yet. It just isn't the time. So how do we repair through play or storytelling or these other methods that I'll share? Also, ways to repair with kids that are open to conversation about it and are ready for that. How do we support and ensure that conflict is safe? And this is a hugely incredible part of relationships. This course is like a field guide to show you the exact methods and strategies and tools and practical tips, as well as the background science to guide your understanding to get back to who you are and how you want to show up as real and authentic and what to model for kids and generations to come. Now let's look at exactly what will be in the course. Let's go through a breakdown of the modules and the steps and figure out how we can best support you in this moment. So here we go. Here we are at the course intro registration page. If you are ready to confidently guide meltdowns, here is my story, and here are what prior members are saying. So if you can zoom in, check out what members are saying. Sometimes it's helpful to see others' feedback and the effectiveness that they've experienced and the success that they've had. So first, we'll hit the ground running with a bonus module. We will get started by learning the Thriving Littles 3-2-1 sequence. What to do when a child is hitting, and we could substitute biting or kicking or yelling. How to stop the behavior or limit the behavior in a safe way and not stuff their emotion in the moment. So often if we just end hitting, we're squelching this physical release that they may need in that moment. So how do we help honor their body cues, honor their sensory cues, and not enable them to hit everybody as they go? Then we'll share the number 1 secret to share boundaries in ways that build relationship versus slowly eat away at it. We'll go through and talk about co-parenting or parenting with different caregiving styles and what that looks like. We'll also talk about sportscasting and the simple sportscasting technique to manage sibling conflict or any conflict with peers at the park or any other kids. We'll talk about the connect before expect method and how to resolve power struggles before bedtime, even if nothing else has worked before. Then we'll talk about why rhythm, regulation, and rhyme really is effective and helpful when it comes to being with kids. And the list goes on. In module 1, we'll go through all of the ways that we are, quote, brainwashed. So I say that somewhat jokingly, but really it's thinking about, wow, we have all of these limited perspectives and judgments and ideas that come in and really impact the way that we are able to think and be present. And it's at no fault of our own or no fault of anyone. It's just this very human thing. Judgments can be really helpful to categorize and to make quick facts known, or quick things known, rather, or relate in a way that feels community building at times. However, when we're relying on judgments for connection or blocking connection because of them, that's where they become a problem. So we want to go through, talk about all the judgments that we may have, talk about our own childhood. So this is where I really invite you to get to know yourself and get to know how your experience shaped who you are today. Many say, I don't have a lot of memories of that. So, if that's you, we'll talk about how these unresolved emotions are often stored as sensations in the body versus specific memories or specific visuals. So, we'll talk about why that is and how to support yourself along the way. We'll also talk about attachment and how attachment is set and how different insecure attachment patterns can impact the tone of your home. In Module 2, we'll really dive in and talk about play and attachment. And this is, again and again, one of the favorite modules. So people don't expect it coming in. And it's really a surprise to learn how relevant play and attachment is to meltdowns. So we'll talk about my expansion model of attachment. It's a guide to cultivate secure attachment, or secure attachment while promoting individuality. So we know that secure attachment is what actually leads to individuality. So I'm talking about that balance of how to live this day to day, how to helpfully use this with a child. Then we'll talk about the science behind the why. We'll talk about why what we are saying matters less than how we show up in our body and our emotions, how the science fits in, exactly what is going on in your child's body, and help you to have the tools to really understand. In Module 4, we'll talk about what is a meltdown? What is this upset? We'll share the 5 top reasons that meltdowns happen and how to use them to ditch the fear of them. So often I know families and caregivers that walk on eggshells around certain kids because we don't want that explosivity and that time involvement and the intensity of meltdowns when they can be the most extreme. Finally, we'll get to the coveted in the moment tips, and I'll share a step-by-step tutorial on guiding you through the moment. I'll also share how co-regulation, or this process of holding space or being with kids, really happens all day long, and how to use this to maximize the days. Next, we'll dive into self-regulation and repair. So self-regulation is all about using this emotional signaling method. We'll talk about what emotional signaling is, why it matters, and how to use this in the helpful moments and the tougher moments. We'll talk about 8 of our characteristics: rhythm, our pacing, our body posture, our physical posture, to name a few, that are helping or hindering, harming a child's capacity to self-regulate. So we really influence the other's ability to self-regulate when they're a child and they're growing. Module 7, again, we'll talk about repair. What do we do when we mess up? We act outside our values, we yell, we threaten, we intimidate in some way. How to move through that, whether it is talking about it or not talking about it. So we'll base it depending on the child's level. Because we wanted to make this a no-brainer and make it a quick, easy decision for you to join us in the course, we're offering 5 free bonuses worth $2,067 as a welcome gift. I really care about the results that you will get in this program, and I really hope it is as meaningful as it can be in your 8 weeks in the course, where you're getting more support and in the community and in the live Q&A, and this year that you will have access to the self-study modules and webinars and videos to support you. So here's what you'll get when you join us in Thriving Through Meltdowns. Here's some clips of the workbook, which is a 64-page workbook that will guide you through the course. It has reflective prompts. It has questions that you can ask yourself to process and reflect and think about all of this and really feel all of this. It has a caregiver guide that is a babysitter guide for you to give to Aunt Mary when she comes over and is telling, Johnny that big boys don't cry, or all those things that we think are helpful in the moment, but aren't aligned with this conscious way of interacting and respectful way of being with kids. So our hope is that you can hand over this 10-page guide, and if nothing else, it's a conversation opener. And it's not from you, it's from me or Thriving Little, so you can blame us when it comes to how woo-woo emotional they think it may be. And I'm hoping that it's practical enough for them to take it and run with it and plant a seed for them to think about how these things can impact these kids around us. The most important thing, I think, is the free live Q&A calls that are included as part of the course. These are where you bring specific scenarios and challenges that you're having and really get individualized real-time feedback. So with all of this, it's kind of take it with a grain of salt, because I don't have the gift of knowing your individual kids and being able to connect with you and really individualize this information is the coolest thing. It's just the most powerful, meaningful thing for me. And from what I hear, the most powerful, impactful thing from course members is getting to talk about this stuff in a way that it applies to real-time situations you're going through. So I'll ask, what was a specific situation you had happen this week that you would like support with or you would like to talk through? And everybody is on board as a community to listen in and share or add input as we go. Something really exciting this round is that we're doing an official private Thriving Littles community. So it is a Slack community out of the public eye, away from social media platforms. We all spend probably more time than we would like on those platforms. So this is a separate space that you can dive in and save just for thriving through meltdowns and just for this process. It's where you can post questions between live Q&A. If you're having a moment of challenge and you just weren't sure what to do, or you just want a resource, shoot us a note on Slack. Others may answer as well, engage with each other. It's where I hope we can get to know each other and really dive into, again, the individual aspects of all of this. More info about the workbook. Something really neat about it is it has quick reference sheets and tips of little theories that we talk about that can really be helpful for you to understand and pay off in big ways. It also goes through quick play ideas, for example, to boost kids' regulation or to work on that, or ways to interact with kids or things to do and look at and think about to really enrich the process. There's our babysitter guide and all of the hot topics. So separation, child hitting, and you can sub biting or kicking or all of that. Mealtime, sharing, natural consequences versus threat. So what is a natural consequence and why is that helpful versus punishment or threats? Finally, we have a refrigerator principle, which some of you may have seen a basic breakdown of this, and this is a big PDF version that you can hang on the fridge. My goal is that by doing this work, you begin to rub off on other caregivers. So we don't want to push our agenda. That's typically not helpful. I haven't had success doing that myself. And this is a way to have the information available, put it in a space that somebody can see it, drop it off with the daycare and see what they think. It's an in-the-moment guide that you can print again and again and have on hand all going forward. I hope that was helpful to see exactly what is in the course and know exactly what your purchase will hold. If this aligns with you, click the register or purchase button, and I look forward to seeing you in the member area and in the live Q&A sessions that can be so rich and meaningful and really get back to the community that I think is so important in this countercultural way of being with kids and being with ourselves. It can be really isolating, and my hope by providing this member area and this space for you to process with others is that it starts to normalize and take away some of that isolation that can be so prevalent in this process. Right away, you'll be plugged into the community, connected with like-minded individuals. You'll receive over $2,000 of bonus material and bonus aspects of this course that I really, really hope will support your progress throughout. Also, space is limited because of that community aspect that is really important to me, and that relational healing and connection aspect that I believe is the key to sustainable change. I'm only accepting 100 members this round. Spots are granted on a first come, first served basis. So if this feels like something that you are ready to do, to dive in, hit the ground running, I can't wait to see you in the course. Secure your spot today because it will sell out, and I can't wait to see you there.